In the equity index futures markets, let's focus on the S&P 500 future today. Strong day, reversing the overnight action. Another volatile session in the after hours markets, especially the early morning hours. But the S&P futures were able to build on the momentum established overnight and continue with that throughout the day today. And we did see the S&P futures pushing up near the highs and actually near the highs of the range for the last several days. Currently right around the 2610 level. Again, that's up quite significantly on the day. And I think when you look at some of the driving factors here, certainly momentum wise, that's 4 out of 5 days now we're seeing the S&P futures higher. And another driver, I think you have to look at the stimulus and the Fed actions continuing to work their way through the system. I think as we continue to chug through some of the numbers the market's going to have to contend with this week, particularly unemployment numbers, the driving factor are still that the stimulus and the Fed action is helping to support different parts of the market, which I think is leading to some confidence within the equity markets. And what I mean by that, if you look at the corporate bond market and the high yield bond market area, they're starting to slowly come back online. And again, that's still going to be a lengthy process and there could be some issues there, but I appear to be in much better condition than they were a week ago. And I think currently, with all the different moving parts within the market structure, I think the equity markets are focused on the bond markets, and it's particularly corporate and high yield. And the idea, are these entities going to be able to manage that debt? And it appears that they're a little bit more positive about that, at least today, than they were just last week. And I think that's another driving factor here, helping to prop up the S&P futures today. And looking at the trends in place, as I mentioned, we are pushing up towards the highs that we realized actually overnight last Friday. We're pushing up here. 2634.5 was the high. We did see a high print today of just shy of 2622. So we're, again, only 0.5% away from those highs that we realized. And also, some of the other trends in place, I think you have to look at some of the sectors that are benefiting now. We continue to see markets adjusting for the new dynamics, and tech leading the way today. And I think that was another catalyst. We did see the NASDAQ futures up even more so than percentage-wise than the S&P 500 futures. So tech was a big leader and healthcare was another big leader today. And I think those areas are helping to solidify, at least for the short term, the momentum in the marketplace and helping to support the S&P 500 futures.